You're nothing to me now, Sarah. This apartment belongs to me, Victoria announced coldly, looming over me as I lay sprawled on the floor. Blood trickled from a cut on my head where she'd just thrown and shattered a ceramic bowl. It had all started out so simply when Alex and I tied the knot about 7 years ago. We were so in love, excited to build a life together. But Victoria seemed determined from day one to drive a wedge between us. She's just jealous because you're younger and prettier, Alex would say, brushing off her constant put-downs and mean comments. I really should have seen those as warnings of the trouble ahead. At first, it was small stuff like criticizing my cooking or how I kept the place tidy. Soon, she started hinting more directly that I wasn't good enough for Alex or his comfortable finances. I tried to keep things peaceful, but her remarks got nastier. You're just a gold digger looking for a free ride, she'd hiss during her rants when Alex wasn't around. My brother is way too good for you. Even with loads of proof of her manipulation, Alex remained blind to Victoria's true nature. He saw her as his perfect older sister who could do no wrong. Whether it was guilt from being the favored child or just her completely messing with his head, he always took her side. Things got worse when I found bank statements showing Victoria had been slowly taking money from the inheritance they'd received after their parents passed. Armed with the evidence of her dishonesty, I confronted Alex, but he just blew up. How dare you accuse my sister of something like that, he roared, his face turning bright red. You're the one with the problem, always trying to find reasons to hate her. That's when Victoria seized her chance to play the injured party and make me look like the villain. Out of nowhere, the ceramic bowl hit the side of my head. As I fell, she stood over me, her final words chilling. Lying there, dazed and struggling to stay conscious while Victoria practically gloated about her upcoming victory, I finally understood my situation. Alex, the man I loved more than anything, just stood by like a coward, unable to confront his controlling sister. That's when I knew our marriage was doomed. But I was determined not to let that awful person take everything from me without a fight. I should have noticed the warning signs much earlier, but I was too blinded by love and Victoria's sneaky ways. Sarah, this stew is a little bland, don't you think? Victoria would comment with a fake smile during her weekly dinner visits, subtly undermining me. You really need to pay more attention in the kitchen. Alex would just laugh it off, telling me, Victoria's just teasing, it's totally fine, honey. But it was the same pattern over and over. She mocked my household skills and my appearance, slowly chipping away at my confidence as Alex's wife. She seemed to spend money just to make me feel small and inadequate, and Alex absorbed his sister's poisonous words. Gradually, his loving gaze shifted to one of doubt and disapproval. Don't you think that dress is a bit revealing? He started asking when we went out. My sister's right, you could be a little more modest. The emotional pain only got worse over the years. Victoria would arrive like a whirlwind, leaving chaos and distress in her wake. With each visit, Alex sided with her more, scolding me for being too sensitive whenever I pointed out how cruel she was. She's my sister, Sarah Blood, he'd fume, his tall frame towering over me. You need to learn to accept her. Meanwhile, Victoria would act like the victim, batting her eyes innocently whenever I confronted her. I'm just trying to help, that's all. You're always getting so defensive for no reason. I felt trapped, like the walls were closing in with no way out. My husband, who used to adore me, had become Victoria's accomplice, letting her treat me terribly in my own home. I knew I had to find proof of her truly evil nature before it was too late. That proof appeared when I found bank statements showing Victoria had been secretly taking money from the inheritance she and Alex shared after their parents passed away. I couldn't believe my eyes. This was more than her usual mind games. She was outright stealing from her own brother. Look at this. I begged Alex, practically shoving the statements at him. Your precious sister has been robbing you blind. His face turned bright red with rage, but not at the betrayal I had uncovered. How dare you go through my private financial records? What gives you the right? He yelled. Are you serious? I cried out, feeling like I'd been punched in the stomach. She's been taking your money for years, and you're attacking me? That's when Victoria played her most cunning move, rushing into the room with tears streaming down her face. Alex, I had no choice, she sobbed, pulling him into a hug. The medical bills for mom's treatments, the nursing home fees for dad. I've been drowning in debt from taking care of them. I didn't want to worry you. Hook, line, and sinker. Just like that, the awful leech had flipped the script, making herself sound like a martyr who sacrificed everything for the family. Alex pulled away from me, disgust on his face. See what you've done, Sarah? How could you put my sister through this after everything she's done for us? I opened my mouth, but no words came out. Victoria just smirked at me, having secured yet another twisted victory. In that moment, I realized I was truly alone in this nightmare, which ignited a reckless determination to bring down my tormentor, no matter what it took. The tension in the apartment was thicker than fog following Victoria's latest manipulative stunt. Alex could barely look me in the eye, still furious over my betrayal of looking into his finances and exposing his precious sister's lies. How could you do this to me, Sarah? He seethed across the dinner table, pushing his plate away. Accusing Victoria of stealing from her own family? She sacrificed everything for us. I opened my mouth to protest, but he raised his hand to silence me. Don't. I don't want to hear another word against her. My sister is the only one I can really trust. The message was clear. I was now the enemy for daring to challenge Victoria's false story about being overwhelmed with debt from caring for their parents. Alex had completely bought into her story. I should have realized then that there was no saving our marriage, but a small, foolish part of me still held on to hope. I decided to make one last attempt to reach Alex and reveal his sister's evil nature. A few nights later, Victoria arrived for another family dinner, dressed provocatively in a sheer, low-cut top, seemingly aimed to provoke me. Alex and I could barely exchange a few words before she started her usual tirade. Well, if it isn't the little wife, trying so hard to maintain appearances, she sneered as I set the table. That shirt looks a bit tight, doesn't it, dear? Trying to catch someone's eye besides my brother's. I felt my cheeks burn with humiliation, but this time I refused to rise to the bait. Hello, Victoria, lovely to see you too, I responded, maintaining my composure. She arched a perfectly shaped eyebrow at my calm tone. What? No snide remarks today? Don't tell me you've finally learned some class. That's enough, Victoria, Alex finally barked, showing some backbone. Leave her alone. I felt a wave of gratitude. He was actually defending me. But Victoria just scoffed and shook her head slowly. Alex, you're too blind to see what a disrespectful, ungrateful shrew she is. Always mouthing off. No wonder you can't control her. If I were you, I would have put that little troublemaker in her place a long time ago. That's when chaos erupted. You self-righteous. I exploded, sending a glass of water crashing to the floor. I should have known you'd never stop with your vicious, toxic behavior. Victoria recoiled in feigned shock. Why, I never. Alex, did you hear what she just called me? Alex's face was thunderous. You watch your mouth, Sarah. That's my sister you're talking to. I rounded on him, years of anger and resentment boiling over. Are you kidding me right now? She's the one who came in here throwing insults from the moment she walked through the door. Why are you making excuses for her? Because she's my family, he roared, spit flying from his mouth. Blood is thicker than water, in case you've forgotten. Oh yes, let's talk about family, I shot back, seeing red. Like how she's been stealing money from your inheritance for years? Or did you just conveniently forget about those bank statements I showed you? Victoria gasped, putting a delicate hand to her chest. Alex, you didn't tell me she was still harping on that ridiculous accusation. How dare you continue to spread lies about me? Alex exclaimed, looking as if he had been slapped. The vein in his neck was bulging as he stepped toward me, fists clenched, and for a terrifying moment, I thought he might strike me. Get out, he said in a low, trembling voice. Get out of my apartment right now, before I do something I'll regret. I stared at him in disbelief as Victoria smirked behind him. This was it. My marriage was over, and she had triumphed. But I didn't leave just yet. You want me out so badly? I shouted, feeling reckless. Fine, I'm gone. But not before everyone knows what a psychopathic, money-grubbing snake your sister really is. I stormed out of the apartment that night, tears of rage and despair burning my eyes. Alex had made his choice clear. His toxic sister would always come first, no matter how much turmoil she caused me. Where could I even go? I had sacrificed my career, my friends, and my entire life to be Alex's wife, and now I was out on the street with nothing, all because I had dared to defy his unhinged, beloved Victoria. There was only one person I could turn to, my best friend, Emily. I broke down sobbing when she opened her door, releasing the torrent of emotions I had suppressed for years. That evil woman has ruined everything. I wailed as Emily ushered me inside. Alex is so brainwashed. He'll never see her for the manipulative monster she truly is. Emily wrapped me in a tight hug, letting me cry it all out. When I finally regained my composure, she looked me square in the eye with grim determination. Enough is enough, Sarah. You can't let Victoria walk all over you like this. It's time to fight back. I shook my head despondently against her. You don't know the half of what I've been through. She's got Alex so wrapped around her finger, he'll never believe a word I say about her true nature. Then we need evidence, Emily stated firmly. Proof that she's the conniving psychopath you say she is. Once we have that, we can bring her down for good. A flicker of hope ignited in my chest. The bank statements showing her stealing from their inheritance were just the tip of the iceberg. There had to be more we could find to expose her. Emily nodded grimly. We start digging first thing tomorrow morning. I'm not letting my best friend's life be destroyed by this witch. Over the next few days, Emily and I formulated a plan to infiltrate Alex's apartment and gather any information that could take Victoria down for good. With her working as a property manager, it was easy for Emily to make a copy of the apartment keys and scope out when Alex was at work. Keep your eyes peeled for anything suspicious, she instructed as we slipped into the apartment. Emails, letters, documents. It all could be the key to exposing her. I rifled through Alex's office with trembling hands, my heart pounding. If Victoria found out what we were doing, the thought of the repercussions made me shudder. But then, a hidden file caught my attention. It contained bank statements and legal papers from several years back. As I flipped through the pages, I felt the blood drain from my face. Emily, you need to see this, I said, my voice trembling. The documents confirmed my worst fears. Victoria had been under investigation for allegedly attempting to murder her own husband years earlier. There were witness statements claiming she had been draining his accounts and pressuring him to alter his will. Then, he had mysteriously died in a suspicious car crash with the police unable to establish foul play. Victoria had inherited everything, and the case had gone cold. Oh my God, Emily gasped, covering her mouth. Are you saying this lunatic actually killed her husband for his money? I nodded slowly, feeling numb. And she's been trying to do the same to Alex. That's why she's so determined to turn him against me. I'm the only thing standing in the way of her getting to my husband's inheritance. Emily's gaze turned steely. We have all we need now. It's time to make her pay for her crimes once and for all. A dark resolve washed over me, dispelling the fear and doubt. Victoria's reign of terror was about to collapse around her, and this time there would be no playing the victim. The evidence of Victoria's murderous past silenced me. This went beyond her typical schemes and manipulations. She was a genuine psychopath who had likely killed for money before. We need to take this to the police immediately, Emily declared, her face pale. Who knows what that maniac is capable of if she's already gotten away with murder? I nodded, still in shock from the discovery. Part of me had always suspected Victoria was deranged, but having proof that she was an actual murderer escalated the situation to a horrifying new level. You don't understand, I said, feeling hollow. Alex will never believe any of this, no matter what we show him. He's too deeply under her spell. Emily's jaw set firmly. Then we ensure she's brought to justice with or without his help. This has gone far enough. It's time for her to face some serious consequences. Over the next few days, we reviewed the files, compiling an irrefutable case to present to the authorities. Bank statements, witness accounts, even phone records indicated that Victoria's husband had been trying to escape her grip in the months before his tragic accident. Everything was falling into place, revealing the truth. The most chilling detail was the photos from the crime scene, a wrecked car in a ditch, the body removed and enclosed in a black bag beside the road. I had to look away, sickened by the realization that Victoria could have orchestrated such a gruesome demise just to claim her husband's fortune. You know she's planning to do the same to Alex once I'm out of the picture, I murmured to Emily, my voice shaking. First it was his inheritance from their parents, and now she wants everything, the apartment, the cars, the entire lifestyle I built with him. She'll stop at nothing. Emily looked at me with determination. Not if we stop her first. We've got everything we need to put this monster away for the rest of her life, where she can't hurt anyone else. The next day, we took the file to the police station and requested to meet with a detective. I could barely speak as I handed over the evidence, detailing Victoria's escalating campaign of abuse and violence against me. The grizzled cop flipped through the documents, his eyes widening. You're telling me this woman got away with murdering her husband for his money years ago, and now she's trying to do the same thing to her own brother? He asked, his tone incredulous. I nodded miserably. Alex is under her total control. She's completely brainwashed him into taking her side over me, no matter what horrible thing she does. If you don't stop her reign of terror, I'm afraid of what she's capable of. The detective's jaw tightened grimly. Don't worry, ma'am. We've got more than enough here to lock this Victoria up and throw away the key. Trying to kill her own flesh and blood for inheritance money, that's a new low, even for my line of work. He paused, seeming to study me closely. I've got to ask, how did you manage to get all this evidence on her? This is one hell of a case file you've put together. I felt a rush of adrenaline as the weight of everything came crashing down. This was it, the beginning of the end for Victoria's twisted reign. No more games. No more manipulation or fake tears. Just cold, hard consequences for her unforgivable actions. Let's just say I've had a lot of practice seeing through that snake's lies, I replied tightly. It's time she finally paid for what she's done to my family. As they led me out, I could have sworn I saw the cop give me the faintest of nods, a look of respect on his weathered face. In that moment, I realized I had been underestimated as a mere victim for far too long. Now, the merciless former predator was about to become the prey, and this time I would be the one showing no mercy. I should have known Victoria wouldn't go down without one final vicious fight. The day after Emily and I took our damning evidence to the police, the demon herself was waiting when I returned to my friend's apartment. Well, if it isn't the ungrateful little schemer, she sneered as I froze in the doorway. Victoria rose from the couch, hands on her hips and eyes glittering with malice. I knew you were plotting something behind my back. My heart pounded, but I refused to show fear. Get out of here, Victoria. It's over. The police know everything about what you did. Rather than looking scared, she threw back her head and laughed, a cold, cruel sound that made my blood run cold. You stupid girl, she hissed. Did you really think a few measly documents would be enough to take me down? In that terrible moment before I could even blink, Victoria lunged. She snatched a heavy ceramic bowl from the end table, raising it high like a weapon. This is what you get for meddling, she shrieked. Then, with sickening force, the bowl crashed down on my head. Pain exploded, blinding and brutal, and darkness swallowed me whole. I slumped to the floor, a lifeless heap, warm blood oozing from the wound. Victoria loomed over me, her face contorted in rage. You're dead, do you hear me? She snarled, spittle flying. This is my apartment now, my life. I'll make Alex see you for what you are, a liar and a spiteful shrew. I tried to speak, to fight back, but unconsciousness claimed me. The last thing I saw was Alex bursting through the doorway, his face a mask of horror. Victoria, what have you done? He cried. Then oblivion. I drifted in and out of consciousness, snippets of voices and movement reaching me through a haze. At one point I swore I heard sirens wailing in the distance. Finally I awoke in a hospital bed. Emily sat beside me, her face etched with worry. My head throbbed with a white-hot agony and thick bandages swaddled my skull. Oh, Sarah, thank goodness you're awake, Emily whispered, squeezing my hand. I thought I'd lost you. Memories flitted back, Victoria's twisted grin, the shattering bowl, the searing pain, the blood. She tried to kill me. I rasped, my voice a hoarse croak. Where is she? Did they arrest her? Emily looked away, her expression troubled. The police took her in, but Sarah, you won't believe it. Alex refused to press charges. He claims it was a misunderstanding, that you two were arguing over him. Fury surged through me, momentarily pushing aside the pain. Ignoring the throbbing in my head, I ripped the 4 from my arm and tried to rise. That spineless coward, I growled. After what she did, he's still defending her. Emily gently pressed a hand on my shoulder. Sarah, you need to rest, calm down. I wanted to scream to unleash my rage, but a cold reality washed over me. My husband was so blinded by Victoria's lies that he let her attack me then defend her actions. Our marriage was shattered beyond repair. You're right, I conceded, sinking back against the pillows. It's over. Alex is too far gone. He'll never see her for the monster she truly is. But even as I spoke those words, a strange sense of peace settled over me. In that moment, I understood my fight wasn't with Alex anymore, it was with Victoria, the venomous snake herself, and this time consumed by a relentless desire for justice. I knew I wouldn't rest until Victoria faced the consequences of her actions. The games were over. Tears and pleas for Alex to see sense wouldn't work. It was time to strike a decisive blow before his deranged sister inflicted further destruction on innocent lives. Turning to Emily, my eyes hardened with resolve. We need to leave. I have a plan to ensure Victoria never hurts another soul. Are you in? Without hesitation, Emily offered a determined nod. Absolutely. Let's finally make that psycho pay for her crimes. An eerie silence descended upon the hospital room as Alex entered, his face a mask of uncertainty. My body tensed, and I instinctively grasped Emily's hand, seeking support. What brings you here? I asked flatly, unable to mask the bitterness in my voice. More excuses for your deranged sister. Though flinching lightly at my tone, Alex raised his shoulders, slumped. But we both know there's no coming back from what I allowed to happen. You deserve so much better, Sarah. With that, he rose and shuffled towards the door. Pausing at the threshold, he cast one final glance back. For what it's worth, I am sorry, truly sorry for everything. Then he was gone, leaving me amidst the wreckage of our life. Tears streamed down my face as Emily engulfed me in a hug, a dam bursting and releasing the tidal wave of anger, pain, and heartbreak I'd bottled up for so long. My marriage was over, my husband lost to Victoria's toxic influence, yet amidst the mourning a strange sense of freedom and resolve bloomed. Alex might have been too weak to stand up to his twisted sister, but I wouldn't be. Victoria's reign of terror would end one way or another. In the days that followed Alex's departure, I stood at crossroads. One path led to despair, a descent into the ashes of my failed marriage, consumed by the trauma and betrayal. The other blazed with an icy determination to set things right. Soon, I declared, my voice hardening with conviction. We can't let Victoria just get away with this. She tried to kill me, her own sister-in-law. That kind of depravity can't go unanswered. Emily met my gaze with a grim nod. You're right, for too long that psycho has slithered away from consequences. It's time the law catches up with her once and for all. With renewed purpose, we embarked on a mission, compiling every shred of evidence to ensure justice would be served. Our case against Victoria was ironclad. We had financial documents, witness statements, a meticulous paper trail chronicling her decades-long web of greed, manipulation, and likely murder. This should be enough to bury that viper for good. Emily eyed the hefty file with grim satisfaction. No more crocodile tears getting her out of this one. A surge of adrenaline pulsed through me, my heart hammering. This was it, the first steps to ensure Victoria could never hurt another innocent person like she almost did to me. I was finally reclaiming my power, wresting it back from her toxic grip. We marched straight to the downtown police station, requesting a detective. A seasoned officer in a rumpled suit eventually ushered us into an interview room, his eyes narrowing as he skimmed through the damning evidence. You're telling me this Victoria has been swindling and manipulating her own family for years? He inquired slowly. Possibly even killed her first husband. I met his gaze with unwavering resolve. That's correct, detective, and her latest act, attempting to murder me, her own sister-in-law, by bashing my skull, and she's a ruthless psychopath who will stop at nothing. The cop's jaw clenched tight as he studied the crime scene photos, the undeniable evidence of Victoria's brutal attack. I've seen a lot of scum in my days, he conceded. But this is a whole new level of depravity. He slammed the file shut and fixed me with an intense stare. Ms. Roberts, let me assure you we're taking this case very seriously. With the mountain of evidence you've provided, we're confident we can put this woman away for a long, long time. A weight lifted off my shoulders, followed by a wave of belated relief. After years of gaslighting and torment, my voice was finally heard, my claims about Victoria cruelty believed. Thank you, detective, I said, my voice trembling slightly. You have no idea what it means to know the law won't allow her evil to go unpunished this time. The cop offered a curt smile. No need for thanks, ma'am. We're just doing our job, taking a dangerous predator off the streets. You're the one who showed true courage by confronting Victoria's abuse and refusing to back down. Leaving the station with Emily, a wave of peace and resolution washed over me. Despite the challenges ahead, Victoria's reign of terror would finally face justice no matter how much she cried wolf. In that moment, I realized my bitter struggle had forged a strength I never knew I possessed. The once meek and tormented wife was no more. I was a survivor rising from the ashes of Victoria's twisted games, ready to fight another day, and this time I would be victorious while she reaped the bitter consequences her actions so richly deserved. As days passed after my release from the hospital, I felt the weight of years of emotional and physical abuse slowly lifting. Victoria was out of my life, though not yet behind bars. Emily and I had done everything we could to gather evidence, and now it was up to the legal system to bring her down. But I wasn't waiting around anymore. I had a life to rebuild. Alex and I finalized the divorce quietly. He moved out of the apartment, almost immediately, unable to bear the constant reminder of the havoc his sister had wrought on our marriage. Despite everything, I felt no anger toward him anymore, only pity. He was a broken man, a victim of his sister's manipulations, but that didn't excuse his choices. His loyalty to Victoria had cost him his marriage, his home, and his happiness. The apartment was mine now, a hollow victory I hadn't expected to feel so bittersweet. I sold it within weeks, not wanting to stay in the place where I had been so humiliated and hurt. The money I got from the sale was enough to start over, far away from the city where my old life had crumbled. Meanwhile, Victoria faced her reckoning. The police investigation, combined with the evidence Emily and I had provided, was enough to build a strong case. With witness statements from her first husband's friends and financial records showing her embezzlement and attempted fraud, the authorities reopened the investigation into her husband's mysterious death. The day of Victoria's arrest, I got a call from the detective handling the case. "It's over, Ms. Roberts," he said with a grim satisfaction in his voice. "We've got her. Victoria won't be hurting anyone else." Relief washed over me, but it wasn't triumph that I felt, it was closure. After years of torment, I was finally free from Victoria's web of lies and cruelty. Victoria's trial was set for the following year. She faced charges of embezzlement, assault, and fraud, along with a reopened investigation into her husband's suspicious death. Though she denied everything at first, the mounting evidence was undeniable. Her facade of innocence finally shattered in court when a former acquaintance of her late husband testified, providing damning evidence that Victoria had pressured her husband to change his will shortly before his death. She was sentenced to 25 years in prison. The media covered the story widely, calling her a black widow who preyed on family members for financial gain. While Victoria might have believed she could manipulate her way out of anything, this time there was no escaping justice. As for Alex, I never saw him again after our divorce was finalized. He left the city, possibly to escape the shame of what had happened. I heard through mutual acquaintances that he had checked into a rehabilitation program for emotional trauma. He lost everything: his wife, his home, and his sister, whom he had defended at the expense of his own happiness. I didn't harbor hatred for him anymore. I had loved him once, and though his weakness had led to our downfall, I hoped that someday he could find peace just as I was beginning to find mine. Emily and I moved forward strong, longer than ever. We both decided to leave the city, starting fresh in a small town where I found a job that reignited my passion, working as a consultant for victims of domestic abuse. My experiences had given me insight into the dangerous, often unseen emotional manipulation that people like Victoria could inflict on others. It became my mission to help those who felt powerless, like I once had, to regain their sense of self-worth and control over their lives. I rebuilt my life one step at a time, surrounded by supportive people who lifted me up. The apartment, the money, the things I had once clung to as symbols of stability, they didn't matter anymore. I had something far more valuable: my freedom, my peace, and the strength to never let anyone tear me down again. Victoria had been a dark force in my life, but in the end she was defeated, not just by the legal system, but by my refusal to give in to her cruelty. I had won not through violence or revenge, but through resilience, patience, and a refusal to let her break me, and that I realized was the sweetest victory of all.